Hello, my name is Jerry Wise, and I'm a marriage and family expert and the director of the Center for Self-differentiation at Family Tree Counseling Associates in Carmel, Indiana, on the north side of Indianapolis. And today's video is entitled, I Can't Stand to Be in a Relationship, I Can't Stand to Be Out of a Relationship. I recently was working with a client and they shared that quote, and I thought it was a particular poignant and important point to make. And he wanted to know why that was, that he couldn't work out being in one and couldn't work out being out of one. So I wanted to share some of that in the video today, and I hope it's of help to those of you who feel stuck between feeling stuck in a relationship or feel like you need a relationship and don't feel like you can live without a relationship. So why is this? Why can't I be in or be out and be happy both ways? Happy being in a relationship or happy being out of a relationship? Well, first of all, I think many of us who are adult children of dysfunctional families, or adult children of narcissists, or adult children of alcoholics, and there are many other dysfunctional patterns that we can be adult children of, we grow up with an allergy to intimacy and an allergy to healthy relationships. And this allergy causes a conflict within us, often not a conscious one, more of an unconscious one, and that's why it's important to work on that and talk about it. And due to that conflict that we have inside, we then have struggles in the relationship, and we have struggles if we're out of a relationship. We feel very miserable or unhappy or not satisfied in a relationship. We feel lonely, we feel abandoned, and we hurt when we're not in a relationship. And so, as some might say, you're kind of darned if you do and darned if you don't. Secondly, we carry within us our own family of origin emotional field. And we do relationships based on the dysfunctional patterns that we learn growing up in our family. We also bring our low self-esteem that we have inherited from our family of origin. We bring our level of self-differentiation, which means how much I know me and how much I'm able to relate to you as separate persons and separate selves. That if we have a very low level of that, we don't have a very clear picture of when I start and end and when you start and end. It kind of gets enmeshed and muddled up. And then we have this problem of being both in a relationship and a problem with being out of a relationship. So we carry our family of origin within us. Thirdly, our inner wounds will dictate our partners and the comfort we feel in relationships. It dictates who we choose. It dictates how comfortable we are in the relationship after it's been going for a while. Usually during the honeymoon phase of a relationship, things are not too bad. We seem to get along pretty well. We seem to be happy. We kind of idealize each other. But when the rubber meets the road, that's where we start to have problems after the honeymoon period starts to end. Maybe sex is not as exciting. Now the very things that I found attractive about you now are starting to irritate me. And that's often what happens in marriages. The very things that we like about the people are going to be the very things we're going to dislike about them. Give you an example. A wife is kind of a wallflower, marries a very social or outgoing husband. She likes that about him. Until 3, 4, 5 years down the road, now she's going, I want to stay home. He wants to go out. And now they get into conflict about his being out all the time and socializing and her not liking that so much. Fourthly, our level of self-differentiation is low. So we find partners who share our self-differentiation level. So if I'm a 2, I'm going to find a 2. And that 2-ness is going to make it very difficult for me to be alone. because I'm not comfortable with me, because the higher we are on the self-differentiation level, the more comfort I feel with myself and being with myself. The lower we are, the more uncomfortable we are with that. And so I will feel lonely outside of a relationship, and I will often feel enmeshed, and often there's conflict and friction to be in the relationship, or distance, or it would be felt distance. I also use the phrase, the knots in my head fit the holes in your head, in terms of a relationship. And so often who we are is who we find. Who they are is who they find. On a self-differentiation, self-esteem, maturity level. Fifthly, we cannot be alone because aloneness or loneliness is one of our greatest fears. I have a good video entitled, Build Up Your Ability to Go Without Love or Approval. And I think it's a good video to talk about how to work on that allergy to intimacy. And so when we think about being alone or not being in a relationship, and oftentimes adult children, those who have been in unhealthy or grew up in unhealthy families, will stay in relationships far longer than they should because they fear being alone. Oftentimes we will also try to keep fixing the relationship or try to fix our spouse or our partner because we don't want to be alone. We can't let them just be them, because that would really cause a crisis, because then I would have to face, maybe I'm not happy here. So that can be one of the problems, and we do fear loneliness and being alone. And by the way, marriage doesn't fix aloneness, and marriage doesn't fix loneliness. And maybe some of you have come to realize that. And in fact, relationships don't fix loneliness, and they don't fix aloneness. They fix it while we're in the honeymoon phase, but not permanently. Sixth, bad love is better than no love. And I think that's really a common poster that many would have on their foreheads. Hey, bad love is better than no love for me. And so I'd rather have bad love that's difficult, maybe painful, maybe toxic, than no love at all. Because that feels more panicky, that feels more upsetting to me. It also triggers my sense of abandonment. At least while we're fighting, at least while you're abusing me, at least while you're ignoring me, at least while our relationship doesn't work well, at least we have a relationship. And because it's more scary to not have one. 7, relationships are a shield against our inner pain, our inner self-doubt, our self-unworthiness, and even self-hate. So let me talk about the first one. Adult children of dysfunctional families possess an allergy to intimacy. Intimate relationships require achieving intimacy, having a self, sharing a self with others. Not the Hollywood or romantic view of love and relationships, which often ends up in failure, disappointment, and fantasy living, in which we're always unhappy and never find any real relationship. If you go by what the movies say, the musical songs on the radio, which I love to listen to as well, love to see the movies and the love stories and the beautiful love songs on the radio, but I know that's not how real love works. Intimate relationships, again, require achieving intimacy, having a self, and sharing a self with others. It entails accepting ourselves and accepting others. That's something we didn't learn how to do growing up in our families. It entails not using relationships to meet our unmet dependency needs or our unmet neediness. In other words, if I have only 2 units of self-esteem out of 10, or my self-esteem is down to a 2, then I'm going to get married with the hope that this relationship and this partner will help me achieve the 10. They will make me feel good enough to feel like a 10. And that's the unspoken contract that we have in our relationships often. But of course it fails and it never works well. Adult children of alcoholics, adult children of narcissistic parents use relationships to meet unmet childhood needs. This is always unsuccessful, and it will always end often in a failed relationship. And even if the relationship continues on, it becomes an unsatisfying, unloving, and very stale relationship. Let me give you examples. Sarah grew up in a toxic, narcissistic family. She grew up with an extreme anxiety, anxious, abusive mother, and as a result, low self-esteem and no self-affirmation. Her worthiness was always in doubt when she was growing up, and she could not meet the unrealistic expectations of her parents. Now, shackled with all of this baggage, she goes out to find a partner. She had to marry someone who could be approved by her narcissistic mother and the mother protective passive father for her relationships. So she marries Bob. Bob is a critical, narcissistic, and successful man. Kids follow, and so does unhappiness. She is unhappy in her relationship with Bob. Bob is her mother reincarnated. She resists divorce because she cannot be alone and fears her parents' reactions should she want out of the relationship. Bob is seen as the normal one and the successful one. No one knows how mean, unaccepting, and controlling he is. They keep that in the family as a secret. And this is all a family secret. So Sarah's desire seems crazy and unacceptable, that she would be unhappy in this relationship. And her desire to separate, or her desire to confront the marital unhappiness for her, just seems unreasonable. So she's caught, and she cannot live in the relationships, yet she fears being out of the relationship. She has children, she has some stability, but it's not a happy stability, either for her or her children. Sarah is allergic to real intimacy, and now she would like to have this in her life. Bob has never experienced real intimacy or healthy, normal relationships in his life. If she decreases her allergy to intimacy, meaning she can accept and achieve more intimacy in her relationships, she would want to have more intimacy in her life. Bob has never experienced real intimacy. And if she decreases this allergy, she actually will feel more unhappy in the marriage, because she'll see, this is not what I want at all. Oh my, it'd almost be better if I lived back in my day of denial. At least I was in pain, but now I'm in pain with clarity. Pain's one thing, but pain with clarity is even more difficult. Sarah's self-worth was so damaged as a child, she now believes no one could ever love or accept her. Bob also has weakened or attacked her independence or self-differentiation as being unloving, selfish, immature behavior. She just can't be happy with the way things are. Can't you just be a grown-up and just accept the marriage as we have it, would be Bob's statement. Sarah believes to get away from Bob will mean a life of aloneness. So she's then miserable and stuck. She calls me, and we work on untangling the knot of self-hate, unworthiness, family resistance, and judgmentalism, and fear of making choices for herself, about herself, to protect and love herself. This also will bring about change in the marriage, and then we'll see whether Bob can handle the changes or not. So it's not so much Mary has to decide what she's going to do with the marriage. It then becomes, what is Bob going to do with the new Mary? He may choose that he needs to change and get help, and their marriage can improve. He may decide, no, I'm just too narcissistic, or it's not about you. I like it the way it was, and if you're not going to do that, I'm just going to call you the unloving wife. So there is hope for Sarah. And Bob, too, if he's open, it usually takes a big crisis for Bob to get help in this scenario. Secondly, we carry within us our family of origin, their emotional field, family of origin patterns, family of origin view of what is normal, acceptable, etc. And normal for Sarah that she carries within her is she needs to get a narcissistic partner. That's normal. They need to be mean and critical. That's norm. They need to be demeaning, unaccepting partner. Love needs to equal enmeshment. Self needs to equal selfishness. And self equals unlovable, unworthy, wrong, and abusable. That's what's normal, and she grew up with that norm. Those things can be healed and worked on. Sarah carries her whole family within her. Her mother, who's narcissistic, a passive, triangulating father, a bullying brother, and a lost younger sister. The key is to get them out of us, to get our family out of us through recovery, coaching, and healing. These 4 people, or more, provide the lens through which Sarah and through which we choose partners and do relationships. So you can see how family of origin can affect, I can't stand to be in a relationship, I can't stand to be out of a relationship. It has a history. It's not about this current partner, it's about all your partners throughout all your life. One pattern she carries in her one partner is severely perfect and dominating, and the other is passive and absorbs the narcissism of the dominant partner, which is that codependency. That's a pattern that Sarah has learned. Thirdly, our inner wounds dictate who we choose and don't choose in our lives. Sarah was broken by her mother, and she chooses someone who will want to break her and control her. That's what we do. If we've been broken, we find somebody who will do that and keep doing that. Sarah's dad cheated on her mother. Sarah will look for someone who deals with inner stress, anxiety, and feelings in unhealthy ways, through cheating on her through workaholism, having affairs, hyper-religiosity, extreme ambition, or substance abuse. Sarah is still grieving inside, very, very deep down. When her mother refused to let her take a scholarship to a great college and required she attend school near the family because mom refused to let her go or grow up or be herself, Sarah, finds someone who squashes her dreams and her desires. And then we see her marriage starting to play out. The husband, Bob, doesn't want her to work, doesn't want her to go to school, doesn't want her to do anything other than watch those kids, cook when I come home, and clean the house, and you just stay at home. Maybe you can talk to your friends now and then. That's just her mom and dad incarnate. Fourthly, our self-differentiation is low. We will seek out and find partners who share our level of self-differentiation. We all inherit our level of self-differentiation from our family of origin. If our family is a level 2 on the 10 scale, we then get imprinted with the 2. Level of self is Not how good of a person you are. It has nothing to do with that. Not how successful in life you become. Not specifically how insightful or empathetic you are. It is about how much we can tolerate intimacy, how much we can develop our sense of self, and how much we are able to connect with others while being ourselves. It's about how much we are able to see our family of origin. I don't mean how frequently, I mean how much we're able to see the whole pattern. How much we are able to do self-care and not de-self as codependents or in relationships. It's about, and the seeing of the family of origin, how much we're able to see our family of origin and view life from a 30,000-foot view. Self-differentiation level is about your ability to resist emotional cutoffs and immaturely distancing yourself and from your family of origin and others because you can't handle your emotions and pain and what they do to you. I certainly do not mean anybody who is being abused, they need to tolerate that more. I'm saying in a more normal, reasonable family that's dysfunctional, we may need to grow a thicker skin, but not to the point of self-harm. Self-differentiation is your level of how much you accept abuse or criticism or self-denying behavior by others. Fifthly, we fear being alone. That's why we stay in the why can't I stay in a relationship? Why can't I be without a relationship? Remember, aloneness and loneliness is not about being able to be with and love ourselves, because we are never alone. We always have us. And oftentimes we think, well, if I'm alone, I'm just not with somebody else. If I'm lonely, I'm just not with anyone else. Actually, aloneness and loneliness is about I'm not happy with being myself, being with me. But because I mistrust and mistreat and deny my inner child, the inner me, we don't like being in a relationship, because I don't like being in a relationship with me. How do you think I'm going to like being in a relationship with someone else? Aloneness and loneliness is not about having or not having others in our lives. Relationships don't cure or fix aloneness or loneliness. Change how your adult, the adult you, relates and cares about your inner child, your inner you. You can recover from this fear of aloneness and not being in a relationship. And in fact, I've got some good videos on healing your inner child and about being alone. Even that one of building up your ability to go without love or approval is a good video about developing a better relationship with yourself so that you can have better relationships with others. So again, number 6 is bad love is better than no love. And I translate that to mean this. Any relationship that fits my inner wounds and my inner low self-worth is better than no love or no distraction at all, in which that distraction I fool myself into believing I can fix this pain inside by trying to have a partner whom I hope will one day meet my inner needs, fill me up, and love me like my family of origin and parents could not. You might want to rewind and listen to that again. Bad love is better than no love is translated into that paragraph, because I think that's what's going on inside of us. As long as I'm in a relationship in which I get abused, discounted, controlled, subjugated, and starved for intimacy, or one in which I'm the critical narcissist, or controlling or angry and distant, then I hold out hope it will one day be the relationship I always wanted. And again, we think in getting into these unhealthy relationships with our unhealthiness that somehow this relationship will fix that unhealthiness. Both are myths and both never work. So I'm just trying to tell you some things that don't work. Now, it may be hard to find what we should do, but at least I know what we shouldn't do. Then I think there's some ways that and things that we can do, and I'll mention those in a minute. We must shift from making others the focus of meeting my needs and healing my wounds. Others are not the focus of that. I am the focus of my inner needs, my healing my inner wounds. And in fact, even if we've been wounded by parents or siblings or family members or ex-husbands or wives, they are not the source of your healing for those issues and what they've caused. You are the source of that healing. You are responsible for healing and recovering from those things. They can't fix it. The person who caused it can't fix it. That's a family systems maxim. To us, meeting our needs for love and us healing our wounds, and to us having an intimate relationship with ourselves, if we do those things, then good love will follow organically. We don't have to wonder if I'm going to find somebody out there. Will I ever find somebody? Yeah, you will, because you're different. 7, relationships are a shield against our inner pain. And I've discussed this above and already talked about that one. So let me share. So where do we begin to do healing with regard to this dilemma and conflict we have? We give up our illusions of turning our relationships into ones that will fix me. We stop the abuse and negative aspects of our relationships. We say no to narcissistic partners. We say no to alcoholic folks who are not willing to get into recovery. We give up the illusions that we can change them and make them the people that we need to love us. We start a search for support group, 12-step groups, ACOA groups, adult children of abuse groups, codependency anonymous groups, supportive friends, supportive church or pastors. Certainly get some professional help, someone who knows about self-differentiation and who can do it themselves, has done it themselves. Start reading and watching more videos. Stop focusing on your partners, your kids, your parents, and what they can all do to fix you. If we do this work, if we do this work, then we make a much better future for ourselves. If we don't do that work, then you make more clients for me in the future, your kids, and probably even yourself. So it's important that we pick up this mantle and pick up this work and do this for ourselves. If you would like to work with me and want to work with me personally for sessions with me, whether 3 times a week, 1 time a month, you can contact me with the contact information you see on the screen. I have my email address and my phone number up there. I do online professional help with clients wherever you live. Skype, FaceTime, Viber. There are all kinds of ways we can do online connect with each other. We have just put in some really good internet connection and powerful internet and routers here in our office, which should hopefully really make internet work even better. I also do intensive with clients. I'll fly to them and do multi-day or weekend intensive with couples and with individuals. I hope you'll watch some of the other 130 or so videos I have on YouTube. Please join our YouTube channel. the Family Tree Counseling channel. And also, if you like my videos, you can donate to PayPal or contact me directly using my email. You can use my email for PayPal as well. And I'll make more videos, and I'll go into more depth. It takes time and effort to make these videos. I enjoy doing it, and I like to offer them for free. And some people want to support that. I've already gotten a number of donations. They want to support me doing videos, and they don't mind paying for that, which I'm very grateful for. And so I want to thank you for watching today, and I hope you have a great day.